Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Schla. And today, I don't know, I got nothing. That's what I was thinking about as I was walking in the car. I got nothing. There was a lot, and yet there wasn't. I didn't really sleep too great last night, but yeah, I woke up kind of early and was having a pretty hard time going back to bed, but I did succeed somewhat. So actually, at the moment, I feel okay. I just feel okay, which is, we'll take it. We'll take it. Now, as for the topic on the table, I don't really know. I still kind of want to execute that sand beach topic I was talking about yesterday, but I don't really know how to hit the angle correctly. And yesterday was just a really poor execution of it. I guess I can think about and probably just get talking about the scarcity mindset that I have and how I've already corrected it prior to the beach. We'll call it the beach revelation. If I even remember that, if I even remember calling it the beach. And the scarcity thing, I don't really know why, but I think I did always have an awareness of money and a desire for money, which is why I've always been decent at saving. Like there are certain things I want, so I do end up spending. But I think the amount of feel good that I get from having money is probably above average. Like the amount that it matters to, let's just say, my ego. It seems like it's more than most people. Like I think most people would genuinely just like, I have a spare $20, let me get a pizza or something. I genuinely think a lot of people think that way, whereas I always had the mindset of, oh, well, I'm just never going to get food out because it's inefficient. It's expensive. I'd rather have the money going elsewhere. You know, like that's just my default. And so, yeah, I still spent money on some junk, on computers, on whatever, but it was always something more tangible than just food. And then even now that I'm buying my own food, my parents are not, I'm not just eating, whatever random things my parents buy, like pasta or whatever, because that's what I used to do. Now that I'm buying my own food, I'm running a tight ship. Like I eat very repetitively. I buy cheap ground beef, and it's a very efficient system. Like, high fat ground beef is extremely filling, and it's pretty affordable. And yeah, I mean, even now, like I think the most luxurious thing I get is the cheese that I get, because I don't really have to get it, but I definitely could get much cheaper cheese. But the cheese that I do get, I guess it's like my treat. It's probably like, I'm saying it could be like $20 a week worth of cheese, so it's a decent amount of money when it could be, I feel like it could easily be $10 a week on cheese instead of 20, but I'm getting like pretty high end good cheese. So, yeah, I mean, the cheese thing I could definitely get like cheaper and I tried doing that for a while, but it makes me feel sick even just thinking about it. For some reason I have like a very high need for high end cheese. So it is what it is. I mean, I don't know, but it's not. The point is that even still, that is not a junky purchase. It's a arguably money pretty well spent. It's not just like I'm going out to McDonald's and getting a burger. It's it's like a really nice quality cheese. So that's kind of the thing, is I was always so aware and am so aware and fixated on value and money. I mean, like anybody, I've overspent. I feel like I spend too much. But some people, I think they do just live life in a way where they genuinely don't care about money that much. Like, they just work because they have to, and they try to save like a little bit, but they probably, if they want to do stuff, they probably just do it. I guess it's still difficult for me to gauge. Like, I wonder, I still feel like I probably spend a lot of money compared to a lot of people, but I'm not really sure. I mean, maybe it is actually less than a lot of people. I don't really know. I don't really know where I would fall. So, yeah, it's like, I think it's pretty interesting to think about. Yeah, I'm not really too sure. I'm not really too sure. The police had pulled someone over, so I was just a bit confused, because that isn't a typical occurrence that I see on this road. I remember I used to think the police didn't even hide out here, but it seems like they started. Over time, I started noticing them around. It's kind of weird, because I don't really know why they would waste time being on this road, I guess. Like, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't. I guess I just don't know. It's, yeah. Anyways, I was just like stuck thinking about that. Like, why are the police even? I'm assuming the guy was probably just speeding, but I still feel like it's a road where I don't really, like, even if people sped on this road, I'm not entirely sure how much of a safety risk it is. I don't know why else somebody would have been pulled over. And yeah, I have a feeling that police cars would be better used in other locations, but I don't think it's like they're here all that often, though. So it's not like, yeah, I don't really know. Sorry, it just threw me off. It gave me something else to be pondering instead of probably what I should be pondering. But I do remember what I was talking about. Yeah, when it comes to money, I always cared a lot about money. I probably do, just more than most. I think most people care more about just what they can do with money. But there's a lot of things where what I'm buying is very prioritized. It's like having a good computer, having good phone. I think a lot of people spend a lot on clothes that they end up wearing for a bit, but then they want to have a different style. They may spend it on drinks, which I think I've already explained a million times. I think is one of the worst, the amount of weight it takes to like transport drinks. It's really not a good thing. I think morally bottled drinks and just drinks in general are not really a good thing. I think it's very likely it would be a far more efficient system if you wanted lemonade, you just made it yourself. But I guess I don't know the super scrutinized numbers behind it. Like, I guess I'm trying to think, because I guess to ship lemons, that can also be potentially expensive, and then lemons can go bad. I guess from like a health point of view, making your own lemonade is definitely better, but I'm curious about the emissions difference, because having pasteurized lemonade is probably fairly efficient because it can sit on the shelf for a while and you're not having to it's heavy, but it's denser to ship, if that makes sense, because it's already squeezed and liquid is going to be denser than an entire lemon. So I think it's a little bit complicated, but I have a feeling that no, yeah, because it is true. Like, you could probably fit more lemonade in a truck than lemons. Yeah. So emissions actually is more complicated than I thought. It's interesting. I don't know why I never thought about that before. I guess you would have to imply you would have some kind of a fruit tree in your backyard or something. Really, and then it would be making more sense. But anyways, either way, you could have a system where juice is very concentrated and compact, and you just like add it to water and you add your own water. Because a lot of times these juices have like a decent amount of water in them. Actually, I don't know if that's always the case, but sometimes these juices have a decent amount of water in them. And so, like, if instead of the manufacturer adding the water to it, the customer could, and that's obviously, it's tremendously more efficient for water to just go through a pipe than it would be for water to be packaged into a thing, and it adds a lot of weight and it takes up space. So you'd basically have these compact, very dense little lemonade bottles that it would just be like pour into a 16-ounce cup and shake it, and then you'd get like a fully potent lemonade, and it would be more efficient because you'd be able to ship more on the same truck. Who knows how well they even optimize this stuff, though? I kind of have a feeling with grocery shipments, it may not even be all that optimized. Like, is every truck really filled to the brim? I don't know. I want to say probably not, but this is just totally shots in the dark. I don't know anything about this. Just based on what I know about human behavior in other ways, I don't even know if efficiency, it's probably not being maximized. It's just probably not. There's probably incomplete truck shipments that just go out because a lot of stuff seems to just feel haphazard. I don't know. That's just my impression, I guess. Anyways. Where was I? Sorry, I got distracted with something else. Money. We weren't just talking about money, but we were talking about money originally. Whatever I'm just talking about is a sidetrack. So money. Yeah, I think I always kind of cared about money more than a lot of people. And so I prioritize it differently than most people. And I wonder what the point of even bringing this up was, because there was, I'm sure in the beginning when I mentioned it, there was some broader point or broader scope to it. And I've kind of lost that at this point. Yeah, like why would I have been mentioning that? I don't understand what the purpose was, because I was going to apply it to something. But yeah, I think, I don't know, even with all my spending, I feel like I want to say I spend less than most people. But I don't even know if that's the case. I just think it's much more prioritized and optimized. You know, if you buy stuff pre-owned, you're getting much less of a value drop. You know, if you buy something brand new, you get an immediate net worth drop. But if you buy something used, you're getting a much less steep net worth drop. It's something a lot of people don't really consider or think about, but I do. So it's why I don't really buy new stuff. But there's many people not really comfortable with that, or I don't even know if they want enough stuff to really warrant it to make sense for them to buy stuff secondhand. I think some people, it really is about the whole experience or whatever. Some people like to go out to shop. I sort of do too, but I don't think I like it as much. Especially because nowadays, you know, the internet, you can really get high grade, high quality things. And then when you go out to a store, it's usually a bunch of junk that I assume is just catered to the median human or the median person. The median human or the median person. And it's just usually junk. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, when I was younger and even like a year or two ago, I think I saw better things in stores or like more interesting stuff. Now it just, I don't really know what they're selling anymore. But you don't really find too much good stuff too often. It just seems like a bunch of junk that would appeal to regular people, just like average regular people. It's crazy to think about how much I've changed. I don't think most people, that's another, like, I've changed so much. I've changed so much. I'm almost like almost a completely different person. Almost a completely different person. Like I can't even. Is that weird? I guess everybody could say that, but it's almost like ideologically or philosophically. And I haven't really thought about it as much anymore because I'm not sure that I agree with it 100% anymore. I don't really know where I fall on the whole surveillance question. But the fact that I'm even mentioning that as something that for like a couple months ago, for a few months, I was like super happy with surveillance. I thought that was really going to be the thing to make the world about. I mean, and even in those few months, just how much my thoughts about it have expanded or shifted or changed. Because I know I used to talk about that so much with a rigidity. There was a rigidity behind it. There was a, we have to survey, we have to set up this system in order to fix humanity. And now I'm like, I guess I'm more neutral about it. But the whole point is I could change back. The whole point is, I could change back now. But the whole point is, when I was younger, I was totally against all that stuff. I wanted nothing to do with it. And so I don't think that happens to too many people. Like, I think a lot of times a person's ideology is relatively consistent. And I wonder what that means. I wonder what it says about me and my brain and how I'm processing and dealing with things that's different from how a regular person would. Because there's definitely a difference in that regard. Obviously, I think it goes without saying. And yeah. I don't know, would be cool to know, but I'm not really getting an answer right now, so who knows? It's not coming to me. I'm not getting it from AI. I don't think most people have that dramatic ideological shifts. I think most people kind of stay on the same page, roughly, loosely. I tend to change. I just tend to be like, oh, that idea is no good. Oh, this idea is no good. Yeah, forget that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't believe what I was saying earlier. I guess what GPT tried to tell me, and maybe I didn't fully understand at the time, I get it more now, where it's like so much of the magic surrounding humanity is the fact that we don't know, and that there isn't, like, if you meet somebody who through all this mess is still a good person, there's something special about that. Whereas, yeah, like, we could have a system where, but you see, no, I kind of counter argue that though a little bit, because it's still like a sorting thing. And if we were all brain chipped, I think we could connect more people with their appropriate friends and relationships. Like, people wouldn't like it, and I think people would want to, like, resist it, but I think it should be possible. It should be possible that it would just be like, okay, well, you know, here would be your most optimal significant other. This is your most optimal best friend. These are your most optimal friends. And then it would all just be computed. It would probably also be able to tell you how many friends you could have. And I think we get caught in the allure of what I was just talking about, where it's like, well, you know, it is special when things are natural. But the thing is, that becomes it becomes dangerous because it only really works for a smaller amount of people. Like, it would be different if you could guarantee or make that outcome more accessible or achievable, but usually it isn't. And I think I've thought about before how many times the people where they do have that movie happy ending, it's probably the top 10 or 20%. They probably were born pretty good looking. They were probably born relatively fortunate. You know, it doesn't have to be crazy, but obviously, like, having more money would typically help. And then when you're attractive and you have all your stuff together, which most of these are going to be not environmentally dependent, but environment definitely assists in a pretty large way. Major things like how much social experience or social exposure you have is going to matter a lot. And so these people can end up with those fairy tale happy endings because it's not like it's impossible, but to say it's impossible for most people is probably correct, meaning over 50% of people, I just don't really think they're going to find their appropriate match or their appropriate friends. I think a lot of times, well, and I mean, even that kind of calls into question the whole concept of what a friendship is. So I guess that gets complicated too, because you could make the argument that, you know, friends are difficult. You have to put in effort. You have to put in effort for friends to work. And isn't that what shows the friendship? Isn't that kind of what defines it? It's not the easy moments. And in a way, that's, I think part of the problem is just that people don't want to put in the work or the effort. The second the going gets tough, they just don't want to talk to you anymore and just like don't want to deal with anything. That's been my impression with a lot of people. People aren't very forgiving. They don't really want to stick through things. And so I think that's kind of the issue with my optimization, is that a lot of these things, they are a result of optimized patterns or things, but you wonder, I'm trying to think. Well, some things I feel have genuinely gotten less optimal. I think there's certain systems or things that just don't really add up, and in my opinion. Like the pursuit of what's optimal, and optimal in general is a vague term. It's like optimal for what? I think optimal for dopamine, we're very optimized for that, but we are definitely not optimized for what would a happy system look like. We're just optimized for dopamine. You know, that's what we're optimized for. It's not like we're actually optimized. So I think there's specialized optimization that can occur. I think so. And yeah, society is very optimized in a particular direction. But it's not necessarily a good one just because it's a direction. And that's kind of the thing I thought about. I don't think I said this before on here, but when I've talked before about brain chips and how much easier it would make socializing, it's kind of funny because in a way it takes out the significance, and already the fact that texting is easier may be part of the problem. If you just had to think to send somebody a message, could you get even more discouraged or disgruntled by that? You know, it's kind of hard to say. And so what I think would happen is in the future, people would be like, oh, you know, I wish I was around in the time where you actually had to physically type text, because that must have been so much more meaningful. Like, I think that's what people are going to say. It's kind of funny to think about, actually. Well, I think it's funny. I don't know. I think it's pretty funny. Because, yeah, and then that's what I realized. Like, should we be making systems that capitulate to humans' laziness, or should we actually make the standards even higher? Like, what would actually produce a better outcome? I'm actually getting here very early. I don't really know why. Maybe I was driving fast without realizing it, but it's not like I left. I wasn't like driving at a super good time. It just seems like I'm in here like really early. For a day I'm staying late too, but it's fine, I guess. I don't know. I'm just kind of like, what am I doing? I guess it's good. It just means I get to leave a little earlier. But yeah, I just think that's funny. I'm sure they're in the future, even in the far future, when you have, again, like I said, mental automated messaging and text sending, you're going to have people like, wow, man, like I wish I was around when, you know, you actually had to physically text and stuff. You know, like, man, it must have felt so meaningful to actually receive a text, or to have to craft the words or whatever. Like, it's kind of funny. I don't know. I thought it was funny. I thought it was a funny little thought of mine. It felt funny to me. Well, at least it's already Thursday. That's definitely good news. That's definitely good news. Alrighty. Well. It's been enough. Well. I thought that episode was alright. I thought that episode was alright. Anyways, it's been schla. And now it's time to buy schla. So, see you schla.